I got this little welder, and you can see how small it is compared to even the size of my hand. Small, right? Trying a little experiment. Actually, I got this from Sweet Project Cars. I'm going to see if it works. This is a 140 amp tiny stick welder. See how big my hand is? Very small, very lightweight. Probably be pretty good for like welding up exhaust systems, whether I want to pull out the bigger one. I got a 140 amp that's a MIG and flux welder, but this is a lot smaller, handier. Now, he says it started out on 30 amps. You can see it boiling there. That's on 30. I don't know if this is going to pop a fuse or not. It says you can bring it up to like 70, 75. Run it for about 2 minutes. Now this thing's been charged a couple times. Actually, the battery's not in extremely bad shape, but it's nowhere near like new condition. Might put out about 250 cold cranking amps. I think it's rated for like 650. So it's down a lot. But you know, I think it would start a car, but it was just, you couldn't leave it sitting there a couple of weeks and try to start it even more than once. So we'll see how this works out. I'm going to run it for like a couple minutes. It says you run it for 2 minutes, give it about 15 minutes break. I'll give it about a half an hour, run it 2 minutes again, see what happens. And we'll charge it up, and then tomorrow I'll go ahead and you run this cycle 5 times. 2 minutes, you start it out at 30, then you put it up to about 70, 75. You do that for 2 minutes, let it sit 15 minutes. I'm going to let it sit 5 for 30 minutes, and you do 5 cycles. So 5 cycles of 2 minutes on, 15 to 30 minutes. I'll do 30 minutes off, 5 cycles. And I can tell that it is boiling a heck of a lot better. I got a 50 amp Schumacher charger. You see which ones are boiling more than the other ones. One of these, this one you could tell is a little bit not as boiling as much as the other ones. Maybe that's the problem right there. The one that's right here. And you gotta, this is like a maintenance free battery, so you gotta like pop off the top with like a screwdriver and a hammer. You know, you can't do this, boil this battery like this with the top on there, because you'll just damage the battery. There's so much gas is coming off of this thing. And you got to watch out too. This is all, you know, explosive in here. Actually, probably should, well, it's far enough away. The gas is coming up this way, but that gas over here is explosive right now. The way I did this is I used the vice grips onto some adapters that screw into the side terminal, and I put the positive on this. So this looks promising, because he said you needed like a 200 or 250 boost charger, manual boost charger, to do this right. And I had only had a 50 amp, so I tried it with that, and I tried some other things, and I actually had some battery additive to it. I'll show you what that is. And it's, you know, the battery will work, but it's definitely not reliable. I mean, I wouldn't let it sit a couple weeks and try to start the car. If the car didn't start right away, you probably wouldn't get a second or third chance. That's how bad it is. But with this thing is actually boiling this battery fast. Because my 50 amp didn't do nothing like this, and this is boiling this a lot faster than like the 250, the 200 amp starter charger thing, like the Schumacher manual one. This thing is boiling it faster. So if this works to restore these batteries or give them like a lot more life, that's worth it for the 60 bucks this thing costs from Amazon. It's like 59 something plus 4 or 5 bucks for tax, so maybe 65 total. It would be worth it. Plus, I think it would be good for like just welding exhaust systems, because it's small. It's easy to get, to drag this thing out, and it doesn't have to be a fancy weld. It's just got to work, So you turn it down. when you're done. I don't know if that's about 2 minutes. Next time I'll time it and you shut it off. Okay. Give it about 30. I'm going to give it about 30 minutes to cool down. You can see it's still boiling in there a little bit. Look at that. This might work, man. This really might work. And now I'll show you what the additive I have in there too, which helps desulfate the plates. This thing, Charge It Heavy Duty Concentrated Battery Additive, longer life for new and old batteries. And I noticed on the battery that I have in a little 4x4 that, you know, when you let it sit a long time, it's got like a manual fuel pump. You've got to crank it a lot. So I wanted to put a battery charger on it. I checked the voltage. It was at 12.68 volts, like showed like 90% charge even after some extended cranking. That's on a battery that's like 4 or 5 years old, and it never used to do that. And I think that stuff has made it better, but it doesn't work all the time. But you know what I think works the best? It's almost like the same thing with health stuff. It's never like one thing. It's like a combination of things. So we'll see if this works. If this works, I went in us pricing the batteries out. I mean, even if you get like a cheap battery, they're like 75, 80 bucks. So if this restores this battery to about the capacity of a cheap 1 year battery, that paid for that charger right there, that welder thing right there. Plus, you know, it'll last for a gazillion years probably, who knows. So we shall see. We'll see how this goes. It's showing a resting voltage of 12.7 volts, which is full. I didn't charge it up all the way. I was charging overnight for about a good 12 hours, but let's see what happens here. That is definitely stronger. Before, the needle used to go right down to like 200. Well, I didn't really fully charge this battery. It was, you know, it didn't click off where it says fully charged, but it was on there a little while. About 12 hours going at 1 amp. Probably got to sit on there a couple of days before it really fully charged. Let's see what happens. You used to go all the way down to like the end of the green immediately. See what happens here. That's a lot better. That's a lot better. Because that's 200, 400. It's a little over 400. It's a little over 400. Yeah, that is way better. Way better. So I'm not done with it. I can actually, you know, charge it more with this thing. I've done very well with these chargers before. It's not fully charged yet with this. The battery minder, which is the cheapest one of this type. These have been out for years. This has got a desulfator in it. So between the welder and that battery additive right there, charge it, and this, and maybe, you know, if that doesn't, you know, to me this is getting pretty close, because this is rated for 650. It should be more like around there someplace, right smack in the middle. But if you get a 1 year value battery, it's usually like 450 or something like that. It's pretty close to that. That's a brand new one though. Not fully charged yet. It probably will go to about 450 or so. But I didn't use the Bedini charger on it yet, which has another thing to it. So the welder, let's say at a minimum, it does help in a measurable amount, the mini welder. So that tip from Sweet Project Cars was good. I mean, it's not, you know, I would never expect miracles, because if the battery's damaged, you know, it's damaged, right? I mean, that's talking like, you can have a cracked, you know, case by the post and you can repair that, but sometimes if there's a bulge in the side of the battery and something's physically shorting out in there, this is not going to work. But usually the plates get so sulfated that's the problem. So this definitely made a significant difference. And if I go further with it, like I said, this thing probably, this is putting like 1 amp in it. So I'm not sure what kind of charge this had from just a welder. I don't know if it's just bubbling it, it's really charging it, like charging it a lot. But this thing was on here for about See, they're about 16 hours already, and it still didn't go to like the green blinking light where it says it's fully charged. So you might need to be on there a couple days before it's fully charged, and this thing would probably even make a better reading. So that's not bad. I'll take that. I'll take that. Definitely an improvement. Possibly it might get it up to about 80 or 90% of new, which is that's stellar, because this is actually a strong enough battery new that it's because I think the OEM is like 510. This is 650. So if you get it about 90% of this would be like 590, 80% would be, what should it be, 130 less. It'd be like a 520, 510 battery. So 80%, if you get it 80% of this, it would still be like around stock standard battery, like 510 or something like that, 500, 550. And that lasts, and you do it again. I mean, these batteries cost you $125, even these smaller ones, right? So why not?